Hey all, it's Friday. Yesterday was a busy day for me, although I didn't get any work at all done in the shop. You'll see that the vase that we're working on is in the same state. Yesterday had some kind of exciting news. You'll see up here on my shelf, I'm missing a vase. I sold it. I sold a vase on Etsy. It's very exciting for me. It's first time, first one. And I doubt this is the case, but if the buyer happened to discover my shop through this channel and they're watching, thank you very much for your order, and I hope you really enjoy that vase. In the meantime, I need to get to work on replacing it. So we're gonna get back to work on this vase. This is part 2. So if you're just joining us and you wanna see part 1, I'll put a link in the description, as well as maybe a little link up in the corner. We're kind of at a cool point here because these 8 rings are dry, they're ready to work, and so I can get into a flow where I take a ring, send it through the drum sander, then come over here and get it lined up and glued to the on the lathe, and then come over here, cut some more segments, glue them up, and right about the time I wrap up that whole cycle, I'm ready to rinse and repeat, and the glue will have had enough time to set. So I can really kind of get into a flow, and that's my plan. I'm gonna put some music on and I'm gonna pump out some rings. So if you'd like to join me, stick around, and yeah, we'll build a vase. First thing I need to do is get this base flattened and ready to start accepting rings. So that's easy. 120 grit paper at low speed, and it makes quick work of it. So we get this first one stacked on here, and then we start going into factory mode. So this is the last bit of this particular board, and it is not long enough to get a full 16 segments out of. It might actually be close, but I wouldn't have enough material to hold against the fence. So I've grabbed the previous stick and just looked for the best way to match the grain, and switched over to that. It won't be terribly noticeable, but I really take a lot of pride in the idea that the grain is circling all the way around the vase, and when you have to start over with a new piece, you don't get that. You might notice that every project that I do, I tend to develop a different technique for managing the monotony of gluing up hundreds and hundreds of segments. But it's really just dependent on the style of ring. When you've got something really thin and only 16 segments, the approach is definitely going to be different than a thicker stock doing 48 segments, and so each one kind of deserves its own consideration. It's important when I put these together to kind of find the best continuation of the grain that I can. It's not necessarily always going to line up, but I try. So this is a little bit different for me, what I'm doing today. It's very single focused, which is not typical for me. The idea of just running from the drum sander to the saw, back to the glue table, over to the lathe, and then going again, and not having a break in between those tasks. That's not the way I usually work. Usually I'm very start and stoppy. It can take me 2 or 3 days to get through a project that really only took me 2 or 3 hours of concentrated effort. But I'm going a little harder today, just to do it, I suppose, and to make this video, to get it out, because I'm enjoying this experiment to see if this is in any way an engaging style of content. So the way that I'm approaching this vase is very different from anything else that I've made as well. I don't know, I suppose they're all different because I don't like making the same thing twice. But my design approach is very different here. Usually I go into SketchUp and I pour over the curve that I want, and I get all the exact measurements for each ring, and follow that design very closely. This time I'm not really doing that. I'm making every ring 0.02 inches per segment wider than the previous ring, and that's going to give me a constant taper. And at some point I'm going to stop tapering out and I'm going to start tapering in. That's it. That's the extent of the design work that I did for this vase, which is very different from what I usually do. And by the way, if anybody wants to see a deeper dive into one or another of the practices that I talk about, like the SketchUp design work that I do or whatever, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and hear what interests you, and I'll certainly drive content in that direction. I think that one of the things that really interests me about YouTube is the community aspect to it, and the interaction with other creators. All right, I thought I'd take a minute to talk about where I'm at and where I'm going. I stacked too many rings, clearly, because I need to come in here and smooth out the inside. And now I've got this ridiculously long reach and my tools are going to be chattering, and shame on me, but I think I can handle it. But anyway, so I've got to stop and let this dry just a little bit better so that I am not too nervous taking steel to it. But so I'll do that. I'll get the inside shaped, and then I'll continue stacking rings. Now, right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 rings glued up. There's 1, 2, 3 more rings getting in line to be glued up. I've got another one cut. I've got enough stock here for about 7 more in addition to that. So if you put it all together, the height that I'm going to get here isn't quite what I want, just given the shape, given, you know, what this is starting to look like. It feels like it needs to be taller than the tiger wood that the zebra wood that I've got is going to allow it to be. So I got to come up with a solution. And just so happens, my wife and I went wood shopping yesterday. And so here's our plunder. Got a little bit of walnut. Just kind of always need to have walnut on hand. This is spalted. Let's see, spalted hackberry. It looks really cool though. I'm excited to do something with that. That's gonna be really neat. Some Chechen. Look at the grain on this. Super straight grained. It's very dense, very heavy. Love it. And then this is really interesting. I've got an orange color to it. And this is Chakti Viga. I have no idea if I'm saying that right, but that's a pretty cool looking piece. And then down here, just some maple. And then from their kind of bargain bin, I got this bocate. This is what I've got my eyes on to make my vase a little bit bigger, because the color is it's close, but it's a bit of a contrast. I think that'll look great, right? Especially if I give it the same treatment where I do the segments in order and let the grain follow around the bowl. Oh man, I think it's gonna be great. So I'm thinking just 1 ring of bocate, I think that's the way you say that, is gonna get me to the height that I need. And so that's my plan. That's what we're gonna do. All right, my favorite part of the project, when I can finally start turning on the lathe, get my tools sharpened up here and get to it. So I don't really need to be turning the outside at this point. Really, the only reason I'm turning now at all is because I have to get that inside smoothed out before I continue. But I can't help myself. I had to start to see what this outside was going to look like. Okay, I've slowed this down so that I have a little more time to talk through this. I am using the wrong tool for the job, and I know it. See, look how I'm fighting with the tools and the wood. It's clearly the wrong tool, and any kind of experienced woodworker would not try this. And so what I should be using is a scraper, which I turned to that. Very shortly after I struggle with this and am feeling very uncomfortable with the way the wood is responding to the tool, I make the switch over to a scraper and I have much better results. So I just wanted to call that out. And unfortunately, since I lost the footage, I can't show you me doing this the right way. All right, that's gonna do it for this one. It's Saturday morning and I am just getting going for the day, but I'm gonna edit down all of the footage from yesterday and get that posted up on YouTube. And then I'll probably go ahead and finish this vase, and then I'll get part 3 up shortly. But I wanted to stick to my guns here and just film a day, post, film a day, post, and see how I like it, see how you like it, right? So let me know, please, in the comments, hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And then my next project, honestly, I got to clean up this wall. It's not flowing well for me. I want to have some purpose-built worktops, work surfaces that are all the same, that I can flow between the planer and the drum sander. I'll probably get this drill press out of here. That's my next project. It's going to be a non-bowl, non-vase time in my shop coming up here, just to get a little bit more organized. And so look forward to that. And if I decide to shoot a video of it, I probably will. I haven't decided yet. So anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you next time.